My name is Laura. I work for Savvy Contemporary. Savvy Contemporary is an art space based in Berlin. It was founded 13 years ago by Bonaventure Sobejeng Dikum, who's a Cameroonian curator. And since then, it has grown to a space it's a discursive platform, it's a gallery space, but most importantly, it's a space where we try to dissect and knowledges, find different ways of thinking about knowledges and cosmologies through the practice of art. So we're really interested in taking these notions of the West and the non-West apart, trying to think through decanonization and really bring in different ways of thinking about the world through the practice of art. And we're now 30 people from almost 30 different nationalities in Berlin. We've done in the past 13 years many exhibitions which are based on research projects, concerts, performances. We have 2 archives, we have a record label, and also we have research projects like United Screens. So for NACP we did a project, it's an ongoing project, it's a research project called United Screens, and it looks into alternative models for film and video art circulation. And the idea came out of a project that we started in 2018, where my colleague Abhishek Nilamber went to Kerala in India and did close to 50 interviews with film practitioners there to understand what film culture means for them. And what came out of it broadly was that the challenges and opportunities that they face were based on 5 broad challenges. So the challenge of funding, the challenge of archiving, challenge of space, and of infringement, so censorship. And the way that they were able to overcome these challenges was through collectivizing and through the means of technology. And so we did an exhibition around these questions at Savvy in 2018. And got a lot of responses to this exhibition. So for example, Ali Al-Adawi from Wekalet Behna, he came, he saw the exhibition, he said, hey, this is actually interesting to take this into another context in Egypt, for example, because we are dealing with similar challenges and we can actually relate to these key points that this project is raising. And so we started to build something like a network between different spaces in India, in Egypt, in Tunisia, in Bogota, in Colombia, and in Indonesia, to try to see how we can find alternative ways of circulating films through this kind of network. And so for NACP, we partnered with Wekalet Behna and with AVEC. We met AVEC in Tunisia also back in 2020, they're a youth organization, and we found it really interesting, together with Rashid, Manel and Mohammed, to think about how these questions of circulation and dissemination of film also affect young audiences. And so now we wanted to, through United Screens, also bring in the question of technology and how maybe new digital and internet technologies can facilitate this circulation of film. But through this idea of the networks came about because we went back to the 1960s and 1970s and the Third World solidarity movements, where actually film circulation was a very important practice, and also what happened to this kind of practice and how was it done and what can we learn, because we're not reinventing the wheel. How can we go back to these moments and learn how to build these kind of networks? This idea of technology came also as a way of kind of breaking what we perceive like hi-fi technology, because it's not accessible to many communities that we're working with. And so rather than thinking of technology as something inaccessible with high data rates, etc., we were more interested in taking an approach to technology that is more based on sort of, technologies are an ancient way of communication, of ways of interacting with each other, of facilitating certain practices. And so we were more inspired to map and look at and research how questions of circulation and dissemination work in different cinephile communities. We wanted to do, in 2020, when we started the NACP project, we wanted to do several gatherings, physical gatherings in Egypt, in Tunisia, and finally in Berlin. But because of the pandemic, we started to do online, we called them Rushes series, which was more like an informal jam session, bringing together filmmakers and technologists and system thinkers to think about these questions that we were raising through this project. And each of we had 6 Rushes series, were programmed and curated by different spaces. in the different geographies we were working with. And so after this series was done, we did physical coming together of these practitioners, one in Egypt, one in Tunisia, and finally in Berlin. So it happened, but it happened a lot later. And yeah, in Berlin, so it ended, or this part of the project ended in Berlin in September with coming together. Really, we tried to gamify this interaction of filmmakers, system thinkers, and technologists to really see how we can build a community, build maybe some collective structure to facilitate the circulation of film outside of the film industry that's highly problematic and hierarchical and hegemonic, build a different system. Many, I think, but we had the chance to actually work with different spaces. We had the chance over these past 2 years to actually take some of the ideas that we had and really research them, but also use this network that we were building to create knowledge and to really research on these questions, bring people in, have conversations, and through participatory research actually take these questions forward to a point that we didn't really know where it would take us. We had a rough idea, but I think it exceeded our expectations in terms of the interest by many communities to actually think about these questions, the urgency of the topic, and also to actually do something and take it into a practical moment. So that wouldn't have been possible if we didn't have the time and the chance to actually bring these people together, and many interesting connections happened. And one stone kind of builds on the other.